Stephanie Powers finally comes clean about William Holden at the age of 82. Born in Hollywood, California, on November 2, 1942, Stephanie Powers became one of the most iconic and memorable characters in American television and film. She was exposed to the magic of movies, theater, and the glitz of Los Angeles during the golden age of Hollywood at a young age because she grew up right in the center of the entertainment industry. She had a distinct viewpoint and a strong desire to work in the arts because of her Polish and Hungarian ancestry, as well as Southern California's cultural diversity. She showed incredible elegance, charisma, and an unmistakable on-screen presence from her adolescent years, all of which pointed to the celebrity she would eventually become. Small roles in television and movies in the late 1950s and early 1960s marked the beginning of her early career, a period when Hollywood was moving into a more experimental, contemporary era and away from its traditional studio system. In order to hone her skills and participate in productions that provided her with the experience she needed to gain confidence as an actress, Stephanie signed a contract with 20th Century Fox. She starred in movies including McClintock, 1963, and Experiment in Terror, 1962, next to titans of the industry like Maureen O'Hara and John Wayne. These early roles not only demonstrated her range, but also made her a credible actress who could compete with well-known actors. Her fame would be cemented, and she would be seen in millions of American households thanks to television, despite her film credits. Powers rose to fame in the 1960s and 1970s because to her parts in a number of hit television shows, such as The Girl from U.N.C.L.E., in which she played April Dancer, a chic spy whose charm and wit won her over fans right away. Her career would benefit greatly from her ability to strike a mix between humor, action, and drama, which was particularly evident in this role. However, her most famous part was with Robert Wagner in the popular television series Heart to Heart in 1979. Stephanie Powers personified glitz, wit, and elegance in her role as Jennifer Hart, the chic and daring wife of a successful businessman. She and Wagner had an indisputable spark that made them one of the most adored couples on television. Powers' place in pop culture history was cemented by Heart to Heart, which ran for 5 successful seasons and inspired multiple reunion films. In addition to the mysteries she helped solve on film, fans loved her portrayal because she embodied a new type of female character who was just as important, brave, and witty as her husband. Stephanie Powers showed a strong dedication to humanitarian causes and charities outside of her professional career. Her connection with actor William Holden, with whom she had a strong passion for wildlife conservation, was one of the most significant facets of her personal life. She co-founded and served as the director of the William Holden Wildlife Foundation in Kenya following Holden's death in 1981 as a way to carry on his legacy. Her life's love was this organization, which gave her the opportunity to combine her famous power with worthwhile environmental and animal conservation efforts. Her legacy extended well beyond the screen as she devoted numerous hours to teaching the next generation about the value of conserving endangered species and natural environments. Powers has advocated for health awareness in addition to her environmental work, particularly after overcoming personal obstacles. With the same fortitude and poise that characterized her profession, she bravely accepted a cancer diagnosis and underwent surgery and therapy. Rather than retreating from public life, she made use of her experience to motivate others and advocate for the value of medical research and early detection. In addition to her artistic accomplishments, Stephanie Powers has garnered a great deal of respect over the years for her fortitude, kindness, and dedication to causes bigger than herself. One from the Heart, her 2010 memoir, is frank and emotional, where she considers her remarkable career, her relationships, and the things she has learned in life. The book gives readers a close-up look at her life story, showcasing her bravery in the face of hardship and her steadfast dedication to leading an authentic life. Both high-profile partnerships and strong dedication to causes near and dear to Stephanie Powers' heart have characterized her personal life. Her first well-known marriage, which lasted from 1966 until 1972, was to actor Gary Lockwood. Though their marriage ended in divorce, it was a significant chapter in Powers' personal growth and understanding of partnership in the frequently turbulent entertainment industry. Lockwood, best known for his role in 2001 A Space Odyssey, shared a period of her early adulthood in Hollywood. She gained lessons from the event that would impact her subsequent life and charitable activities, as well as assist mold her perspective on relationships. Following her split from Lockwood, Powers had a meaningful and life-changing relationship with actor William Holden, a well-known Hollywood personality whose career spanned decades and featured iconic roles in movies like Sunset Boulevard and Stalag 17. They started dating soon after her divorce and were together until Holden's passing in 1981. Powers has described Holden as her soulmate, highlighting the intensity of their emotional and spiritual bond, and has called this relationship deeply meaningful. Beyond the emotional level, their bond developed into a mutual love of protecting nature, a cause that would ultimately shape Powers' life and legacy in many ways. Using Holden's celebrity and Powers' commitment to make a difference, they collaborated to promote environmental conservation and endangered species awareness. Holden's passing in 1981 was a turning point in Powers' life because it signaled the start of a significant charitable endeavor as well as the conclusion of a personal relationship. In honor of his memory, and as a means of expressing her dedication to wildlife conservation, she established the William Holden Wildlife Foundation the following year. Under her direction, the foundation aimed to guarantee the preservation of endangered species and assist wildlife initiatives across the globe. In Nanyuki, Kenya, Powers also rose to the position of director at the Mount Kenya Game Ranch and Wildlife Conservancy, where she was in charge of conservation initiatives. An advocate for the welfare of animals, she did not only work in Africa. She formed close relationships with the Cincinnati and Atlanta zoos in the U.S., contributing her time, knowledge, and public image to support conservation efforts. As a frequent worldwide guest speaker, Powers has traveled far, inspiring audiences to take action for environmental problems and educating them on the value of protecting wildlife through speeches, lectures, and presentations. Her advocacy demonstrates a lifelong engagement that surpasses celebrity involvement. It demonstrates strategic leadership, hands-on dedication, and a genuine enthusiasm for the world and its inhabitants. In his personal life, Powers fell in love once more. She married French aristocrat Patrick Hewitt de la Chesnay, who was born on May 7, 1951, on April 1, 1993. France's Versailles. Their marriage, which gave her personal life a cross-cultural dimension and linked her to European high society, lasted until 1999. After that divorce, she rekindled her connection with Tom Carroll, an auditor with whom she had been friends for about 15 years. Powers experienced stability and personal fulfillment during their connection, which lasted until Carroll's death in August 2014. It provided her with emotional support and opportunities to share experiences away from the spotlight. Powers' life exhibits a harmony of love, devotion, and fortitude even in her intimate partnerships, fusing the intricacies of Hollywood life with a strong dedication to environmental and humanitarian concerns. Through these marriages, relationships, and charitable endeavors, Stefanie Powers not only becomes a well-known actress, but also a woman whose career and personal life are intricately linked to compassion, hard work, and a lifelong quest for significant change, especially in the field of wildlife conservation. The graceful, classic actress Stefanie Powers, who is 82, has finally talked about one of the most significant relationships in her life, her affair with the late actor William Holden. Powers is most known for her famous part in Heart to Heart. Powers, who has always been open yet cautious about her personal life, spoke with a unique openness and candor, demonstrating the significant influence Holden had on her on a personal and professional level. With a hint of sadness in her voice, Powers declared, "He was my soulmate in every way. It was more than a love affair. Words can hardly express the sense of permanence that pervaded that bond." Despite both of them being well-known Hollywood celebrities whose lives were continuously scrutinized, her observations offer a very intimate glimpse into a love that remained mostly secret for decades. Shortly after her divorce from actor Gary Lockwood in the early 1970s, Powers met Holden. "I was going through a time in my life where I was changing." She remembered that everything changed when William appeared out of the blue. During peaceful, meaningful moments rather than in the spotlight of Hollywood or tabloid headlines, their friendship quickly developed. She claimed that we spoke a language that no one else could understand. It was a friendship that went beyond the typical romance between celebrities. Respect was the foundation of it, comprehension and a mutual appreciation of the environment. Powers frequently characterizes Holden as a mentor and inspiration in addition to a companion. He urged her to follow her interests outside of performing, such as her lifelong enthusiasm for wildlife conservation, where they might eventually have a significant influence. But there were difficulties in their relationship. In the 1970s, Hollywood was a complicated place with constant public scrutiny. According to Powers, we discovered how to preserve and honor our love. Not everything was simple. Expectations, miscommunications, and pressures were all present. But we had each other through it all. According to Powers, having Holden in her life changed everything. He taught me to be brave, patient, and to live life to the fullest, even in the face of unpredictability. They were connected in ways that went well beyond love. It was based on mutual respect and shared ideals. Powers disclosed that their love provided her with a strong sense of security during a challenging time in her career, acting as a stabilizing influence among the mayhem of the entertainment business. Powers had to negotiate the world without Holden after his untimely death in 1981, a loss she explained as, "Yet even in grief, she found purpose." In remembrance of him and their mutual love of protecting wildlife, she established the William Holden Wildlife Foundation the next year. According to Powers, "I wanted to produce something enduring that represented our top priorities. It was a means of preserving his soul and changing the world in a real way." The base, which has provided funding for innumerable conservation initiatives, is evidence of their unbreakable relationship and a tale of love that goes beyond life itself. As she reflects on their connection with the wisdom of age, Powers acknowledges that she took away some lessons that still influence her life now. According to her, love is about depth, dedication, and the bravery to be completely seen. It's not only about passion or excitement. "William and I had the kind of love that endures even after many years." Powers, who is currently 82, speaks with the grace and wisdom of someone who has actually had a once-in-a-lifetime encounter. She said, "I never regretted a moment with him. He was my partner, my mentor, and my heart. And I still sense his influence in the decisions I make and the job I do, and the affection I still have for the globe." Stefanie Powers' open disclosures provide fans and admirers with more than simply a window into Hollywood romance. They offer a deep reflection on legacy, love, and the enduring ties that characterize a lifetime. Her relationship with William Holden serves as a reminder that some bonds endure beyond our time together and are preserved in our memories, deeds, and innermost thoughts. The adored actress Stefanie Powers, who is most remembered for her iconic role on Heart to Heart, received shocking news in November 2008. Alveolar cell carcinoma, a quite uncommon and aggressive type of lung cancer, was the diagnosis made for her. This diagnosis was a turning point in her life since it forced her to deal with the psychological effects of accepting one's own mortality as well as the physical difficulties of a major disease. Powers, who had been a smoker for around 20 years, exemplified the regrettable link between chronic smoking and the development of some forms of lung cancer. Her diagnosis did, however, highlight the fact that smoking's effects can persist for decades, even with a conservative lifestyle later on. This news was especially upsetting for an actress whose career lasted more than 50 years because it made her face not only her health, but also her identity, fortitude, and future uncertainties. Powers had a crucial surgical treatment on January 29, 2009, to remove a piece of her right lung just a few months after being diagnosed. In her battle against the illness, the emotionally and physically exhausting surgery marked a turning point. This kind of lung surgery requires extreme precision since the doctors have to precisely remove the malignant tissue while keeping the lungs as functional as possible. In addition to being a necessary medical procedure, Powers saw this operation as evidence of her will to live and carry on with vigor despite a serious health crisis. Following such surgery, there is frequently a lengthy and difficult recovery period that includes weeks of rest, close observation, and a gradual restoration of lung capacity and general stamina. Using the inner power that had characterized her personal and professional lives for decades, Powers addressed this period with her signature grace and perseverance. A very personal loss, Her mother's passing in the same month as her surgery added to the intense emotional burden of this time. Powers' mother died of pneumonia in Los Angeles at the astounding age of 96, adding sorrow to an already trying period. Powers had to traverse a particularly challenging emotional terrain as a result of having to go through a significant medical treatment and grieving the loss of a parent. Losing such a significant person surely caused a mix of grief and introspection because her mother had lived a long and rich life, reminding others of the value of cherishing loved ones and the transience of life. Powers' emotional fortitude was demonstrated by the way she overcame both severe physical recuperation and deep personal loss while battling a life-threatening disease and bidding farewell to her mother.